Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to our world today. I'm your lovely host, Nora Sakal. This is a podcast where we address issues that matters. We talk about all things living. Today's topic: plan your way out of worry. Again, plan out of worry. Thank you for joining us. If this is your first time, please go over to our YouTube channel out at Out Media OWT Media. Like, subscribe, and share. And to all other social media handles, go over to PM Our World Today. Again, PM Our World Today. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right to it. Oftentimes, we do have issues that we suffer from. We are plagued, plagued by constant worries and anxious thoughts and anxiety and fear you know uh, and I realized that the truth is one of the reason why we worry is because we fail to have a plan. We lack a plan. We lack vision. We lack direction. We lack solutions to the problems that we're worried about. Now, how much worrying is too much worrying, you may ask? You It takes as much energy to worry as it does to plan. Okay. You can choose to push all your energy into being disturbed, into being worried, into being anxious, or you can choose to push all your energy into finding a solution. Now, the problem is not that. It's not that worrying is a bad thing, right? It's not that too much thinking is a bad thing, but the question is the type of thinking. What kind of thinking are we thinking? We all worry. We all have moments where we have been anxious. Some even go to the extent of having like panic attacks. We all have those moments and all those phases. But the question is, how much worrying is too much worrying? See, worries, doubts, and anxieties are a normal part of life because if something is not going right, you get disturbed. You get worried about it. It's natural to worry about an unpaid bill. It's natural to worry about an upcoming job interview. It's natural to worry about a first date. It's natural to worry about, not having money to take care of your bills or your resources. It's natural. But constant worrying leads to negative thinking. And negative thinking puts you in a place where you're always having the worst expectations of everything. And worst expectations can take a toll on your emotional and physical health. It can take a toll on you. It takes a toll on your relationships because you start to disassociate yourself with your friends. You start to disassociate yourself with people. You start to disassociate yourself with your job, the things you normally like to do and love to do, you stop doing, right? So we do not want to constantly worry to a point where it becomes negative thinking, because then that's where we start to have insomnia and headaches and health problems and anxieties, and it can even lead to stroke and ulcers and a lot of complications just because of anxiety and fear and worrying, right? So we need to learn uh, to stop worrying. Why is it so hard for us to stop worrying? Why is it so hard for us to shift our mind? I discovered that oftentimes problems is the main issue, the main factor why people are as worried as they are when it comes to whatever it might be. And as a result, those problems leads to negative belief and negative thinking. Now, we often worry also because we have the wrong idea when it comes to things, when it comes to reasons why we do things. For example, money. Oftentimes, you see people want to pursue money. People want to pursue money. People want to acquire or accumulate money. And rather than creating wealth. See, there's a difference between pursuing money, accumulating money, and creating wealth. See, when you are pursuing money, it seems as if you can never acquire it. It seems as if you can never get it. When you are accumulating money, it just puts you in a position where um it puts you in a position where you constantly keep going after things, after material things. I want you to remember a man's life is not governed or it's not directed by accumulated things. It's not. You see what I'm saying? You were created as someone to create. You were created to create things. You were created to be a creator of things. When it comes to wealth, when it comes to true wealth, wealth is created. It's not acquired. It's not pursued. It's not accumulated. It is created. You go out there and you invent and you create what you need to create outside of whatever your problems are. That's why you see oftentimes um, uh, in like situations like pandemics or in situations like uh, things that are not normal that destabilizes a whole country, a whole nation, a whole people, you find that wealthy people are calm. The ones that get anxious are the poor people. The ones that get anxious are people that are broke, people that are poor, because they are thinking, "Oh my God, I'm supposed to go in after this thing. Now this thing has been taken away from me. I can no longer pursue it. I can no longer save it. I can no longer accumulate it. I'm going to be affected, and it's going to affect me, my wealth, my income, and my livelihood." But when you change your mindset from pursuing, from accumulating to creating, see, you are not worried because you know that whatever the circumstances are, you can take that and make something out of it. You can take whatever it is and make something out of it. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be worried, but the question is, what kind of worried are you worrying? Why is it so hard to stop worrying? Constant worrying can take a heavy toll. It keeps you up all night. We have all been part of it. I can tell you firsthand, I've been part of that. You become anxious. You're edgy. You're tense. During the day, you're tense. You're pacing back and forth. You don't have any peace of mind. And even when you don't like that feeling, you don't like feeling nervous, you don't like feeling like a wreck, you don't like feeling anxious, but you find yourself in that mood, in that space, in that mindset, and in that thought process. Why is it so hard for us to stop worrying? So we have both negative and positive worries. We have both negative and positive worries. It just depends on you which one you want to invest your emotions in. See, negative beliefs about worry. You may believe that your negative belief about worrying constantly is constantly harmful to you, your thinking, your thought process, your mind. It drives you literally crazy. It affects your overall physical health. You feel like you're losing control over yourself. You're losing control over your rights, your will. You're losing control over the things that you are supposed to have control over. If you feel like your situations are taking over you, you're losing. Uh, 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 you're losing yourself. See, negative belief and negative thoughts about worrying adds to all the anxiety. It just keeps the worry going. you know, it's very damaging. And another thing that we often think that we can control is the fact that we think, oh, if I think this way, it's going to avoid me from maybe getting in trouble or from making certain risk and make avoiding bad decisions pretty much, right? But that's not true. Sometimes we tell ourselves like, hey, if I keep worrying about this thing long enough, eventually I'll be able to figure it out. That's not true. Or you've convinced yourself that worrying is a responsible thing to do or the only way to ensure that you don't overlook something. That's not true. Those are the things that we think it's positive worrying, but it's not. See, a habit, when you have a habit of worrying about everything, it is so hard to break that habit. It is so hard to break that belief, that thought process. Especially when you think that your positive beliefs helps you solve your problems or helps you achieve a purpose or serves as a positive purpose to you. And that's not true. The truth is, once you realize that you're worrying, or once you realize that you have any kind of worrying, that's a problem. Worrying is never a solution, it's always a problem. And the good news is that you can always regain control of your worried mind. You can always regain control of, your anxiety, your anxiousness. So how can you worry your way to a solution? How can you worry your way out of a problem? How can you stop worrying, pretty much is what I'm saying. How can you stop thinking, hey, you know, uh I'm going through this, I'm going through that, and it's affecting me this way. I can't do this and I can't do that. How can you stop worrying and start fixing whatever the cause of the worry is? How can that be done? How can that be done? How can we fix that? How can we make that change? Hmm. See, to stop yourself from worrying, what one, you have to create a daily worry period. Okay. What does that mean? You have to choose a set time and place for worrying. In other words, you have to choose a set time and place for thinking. Uh, you can say, okay, I'm going to sit in my living room. I'm going to think about all the things that are disturbing me. I'm going to evaluate, right? I'm going to evaluate all the things that are causing me to be anxious. A good thing is to do that early in the morning, during the day, not late at night, because then you stay up all night thinking. So do it during the day, early in the morning. Write down your worries. If you have an anxious thought or worry, whatever comes into your head, write it down. Write it down for that moment where you are going to sit down and address it and fix it. Make a brief note, a brief summary about it, and then move on with your day. Just say, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to address everything. So you want to create a time where you dedicate just to handle the issues that bothers you. You want to write down what your worries are. Let's say you go throughout the day and you, every time something pops up, oh my gosh, I have to pay this bill and I don't have this money. Write that down. Write a brief summary about that thing. Hey, I have to call this person and handle this situation. I have to call the bank and handle this. I have to call the court and handle this, whatever the worry might be. Write down what those worries are. Write down a brief summary about it, what it is that you need to take care of. And then number three, you want to go over your worry list during your worry period. It can be 1 hour, it can be maybe 2 hours. I encourage you, I advise you not to put too much time to it, because then it consumes most of your day. Whatever your worry period is, it can be anywhere from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., or it can be from 9 a.m. to 4, I don't know, 10 a.m., I don't know, 9 to 12, I don't know. Whatever time you want to peak out, you go over your worry list during that worry period, and the thoughts you wrote down, uh, whatever you wrote down, you go over it. And if it's still bothering you, allow yourself to worry about them, but not only for the amount of time you've specified for your worry period. Allow yourself time to go over it over and over and over and over and over until you can get it out of the way. Because as you examine your worries this way, you often find it easier to develop a more balanced perspective. And then you begin to realize which one is important and which one is not important. And if you find that your worries don't seem important to you or are not important anymore, simply cut out your worries and start to enjoy the rest of your day. So try to create that. Number two tip, challenge anxious thoughts. Whatever your anxious thoughts are, challenge them. If you suffer from chronic anxiety and you worry, chances are you are going to look at the world in ways that make it seem more threatening than it really is. Your perspective, your view about the world is based on your view about your fears, your anxieties, your worries, the things that bother you. Because someone can say something that really has nothing to do with what you're doing or what you're saying, but because you're so full of anxiety and worry and fear, translate that into something bigger than what it is, mightier than what it is, and then you're consumed with fear. And you start to discredit yourself. You start to discredit your own ability to think, your own ability to handle life's problems. Thinking you'll fall apart, thinking your trouble just follow you. I don't look for trouble, trouble looks for me. That's a thought process that is limiting. You start to have cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions includes you have this all or nothing thinking, looking at things in a black or white category. No, there has to be a middle ground. If everything is not perfect, I'm a failure. No, there has to be a middle ground. Another cognitive distorted cognitive distortion includes overgeneralization, overgeneralizing things from a single negative experience, expecting it to hold true forever. I didn't get hired for the job. I'll never get hired for this job. He didn't ask me out on a date. I'll never go out on a date. The guy dumped me. I'll always get dumped. Stop overgeneralizing things. Focus on the negatives while filtering out the positives. Notice that one thing that went wrong rather than all the things that went wrong. Rather than all the things that went right. That's the type of mindset. Always looking at the negative. You go through your whole day, everything went okay, but then you had one wrong thing, and then you carry that one wrong thing and just just be fixated by it and fix your eyes and your mind and everything on it. You have to learn to filter it out. Oh, I'm an idiot because I got the last question on the test wrong. Oh, I'm this because this happened. No. How about you look at all the right things? And then another cognitive distortion is, you come up with reasons why positive events don't count. Well, I did well on the presentation, but that was just dumb luck. No, you did well because you did well, because you were good. Well, she only did this because that happened. You don't learn to celebrate people, celebrate others, celebrate small wins. You just make negative interpretations without actual evidence. You just summarize on things without actual evidence. Expecting the worst case scenario to happen. Oh my God, I'm probably going to die if I jump in this water. How about I'm probably going to find something treasurable? How about I'm going to have fun if I jump into this water? There's a little turbulence. Oh my God, the plane is going to crash. No. Always thinking the way you feel reflects reality. That's false reality. Oh, because you made a mistake, you feel like a fool. Now you think everyone is laughing at you. No, that's not true. The way you feel does not reflect the reality or actuality of life or the actuality of things. You want to hold yourself to a strict list of what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Beating yourself up if you break any of your rules. I should have never had tried starting a business or starting a conversation with her or with him. I'm such a moron. I'm so this, I'm so that. No. And then also another cognitive distortion is when you assume responsibilities for things that are outside of your control. You have to remember there are things that you are able to control, you're able to manage, you're able to handle, and there's some things that you just don't have control over. So when we pressure ourselves and we put all those things and we begin to look at those things like we have to absolutely uh be this person, it fills us up with so much worry and so much fear. But we have to learn to challenge those thoughts. So how do you challenge these thoughts? Ask yourself, what's the evidence that the thought is true or that it's not true? Is there a more positive, realistic way of looking at the situation? What is the probability that what I'm scared of will actually happen? Is the probability low? Is it high? What are some more likely outcomes? Other than me thinking I'm not going to make it. What other ways, what other possibilities are there? Challenge your thoughts when it comes to these fears and these worries. What would I say to a friend who have the same issue? Number three, you have to distinguish between solvable and unsolvable worries. There's some worries that you can solve, and there's some worries that you cannot solve. See, when you just go over whatever the problems are in your mind, it literally distracts you from your emotions. It makes you feel like you're getting something accomplished. So, but one thing is for certain, being worried or worrying and problem solving are two different things. Problem solving involves evaluation or evaluating a situation, coming up with concrete steps for dealing with it, and then putting the plan into action. Worrying, on the other hand, it really leads you to no solution. No matter how much time you spend dwelling on worst case scenarios, you are no more prepared to deal with that problem than if that problem actually happens. So, where do you want to push your energy? Where do you want to redirect your energy? It takes as much time to worry as it takes to find a solution to a problem. Honestly. So ask yourself, is your worry solvable before you get worried? See, productive, solvable worries are those that you can take action right away. If you're worried about your bills, you could call your creditors to see about flexible payment options. That gives you time. Unproductive, unsolvable worries are those for which there is no corresponding action. Well, what if I get cancer someday? Well, who said you're going to get cancer? What if my kids get into an accident? Who said they're going to get into an accident? You have anxiety for no reason. And if you see that your worry is solvable, then start brainstorming. Brainstorming. Make a list of all the possible solutions you can think of. Not perfect solution, but possible solution. Focus on the things you have the power to change rather than the circumstances or the realities beyond your control. When you evaluate those options, then you make a plan of action. Once you have a plan, start doing something about the problems. Then you'll feel much better and less anxious and less worried. I'm saying all this because this is actually what I had to go through. I had to go through this. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking. I'm thinking. But my thought process is to look for solutions, not to be anxious and thinking, well, what if this happened and what if that happens? And if your worry is not solvable, accept the uncertainty that comes with it. Because the truth is that the vast majority of your worry or your anxiousness or your anxious thoughts probably fall in the camp of uncertainty. See, worrying is a way we predict what the future has in store. So because because we want to prevent unpleasant surprises and control our outcome. So stop predicting bad things that will happen just because you are uncertain about them. The question is, what is the likelihood that those bad things will happen? Given the likelihood is very low, is it possible to live with the small chance that something negative may actually happen? Ask your friends and families how they cope with uncertainty in different specific situations. Could you do the same? You have to tune into your emotions. Worrying about uncertainty is often a way to avoid unpleasant emotions. We don't like to feel bad, right? We don't like to feel a certain kind of way. Um, we don't like to feel funny, quote unquote funny, right? And so because of that, we try to avoid ourselves from even getting to that place where we have to, have that experience or feel that emotion. We don't like it. As a result, we start to get worried and start to draw conclusions and make decisions that are not for our best interest or that will lead us nowhere. So talk to people. Talk to people. How did they get over it? Is it solvable? Is it not solvable? How did they fix that? Are you able to change the narrative? Are you not able to change the narrative? What can you do if you can change the narrative? How can you change the narrative? Are you not able to change the narrative? Well, how can you live with the actual problem at hand? So there is a solution. There's a choice that has to be made, and it's really up to you what choice you want to make. It's really up to you. So tip number 4, you have to interrupt the worry cycle. To interrupt the worry cycle, you have to take the appropriate steps, because if not, you sometimes you might feel like you're spiraling out of control, right? You're going crazy. You feel like you're burned out. You're exhausted. So you have to take the proper steps to interrupt all those anxious thoughts and give yourself a time or time out from relentless worrying, from constant anxiousness, anxiety. Give yourself enough time to break that pattern. And how do you go about that? Get up and get moving. See, one thing that helps with taking your mind out of a place of worry into a place of solution and then into a place of planning is exercise. See, exercise is a natural and effective anti-anxiety treatment. Because it releases endorphins, which relieves tension and stress. It boosts up your energy and enhances your sense of well-being. And at that moment when you're working out, it helps you to really focus on how your body feels as you move. So you can interrupt the constant flow of worries, running through your mind. You want to pay attention to the sensation of your feet hitting the ground. As you walk, as you run, as you dance, as you're flexible, you're moving. Take a yoga class, meditate. See, meditation works by switching your focus from worrying about the future or dwelling on the past to what's happening right now. Meditation helps you transition and shifts you from that place of disorientation, that place of destabilization, that place of no direction. You are fully engaged in the present moment. You just look for a quiet, comfortable place and choose one of the many free resources we have out there to help you meditate through it. You can pray. You can read the word. You can read a book. You know, you can find where you can hum, you can chant, whatever it is that's going to help you through the meditation process. Practice progressive muscle relaxation. Stretch out. Try deep breathing. Help you shift your mind, change that pattern, right? And number 5, you want to talk your worries out. You want to build a strong support system. Find people that you can talk to, and they can encourage you. They can I give you a reaffirmation, assurance. They can build you back into hope, into faith, into believing. They can bring you back into a place where you are focused and your mind is not so divided. Through friendships, coaches, mentorships, whoever, groups, organizations, and also know who to avoid when you're feeling anxious. There's some people that come and they feed to that feelings, right? We go to them and say, man, I'm feeling anxious today. I know, right? Me too. Rather than saying why. And you learn some things you learn from people. They say bad company corrupts good character. Sometimes your association, you pick up certain character traits from your association. Maybe you even learn about being anxious and being fearful and frightful from the people you're associating yourself with. So be conscious, avoid certain people when you have certain feelings and certain emotions, right? And practice mindfulness. Acknowledge and observe your worries. Don't try to ignore them or fight them or control them like normally would. Instead, just simply observe them as if you are an outsider. From an outsider perspective, without reacting or judging, just observe and acknowledge it. Let your worries go. When you notice that they're fading away, let it fade away. Don't try to take control of it. Don't try to let it go because you like the feeling of a pity party. They might pop up every now and then. When it pops up and goes, let it pop out and go. Stay focused on the present. Pay attention to what's happening now, to the way your body is feeling now, the way you're breathing, the way you're changing emotions, the way your mind is thinking. Find yourself. Find a particular thought process that works for you and do that. And you want to repeat this daily. Repeat it daily. And as a result, it helps you and transitions you from this place of worriness, from being always being worried, to a place of peace. So you can start solving problems, because there are consequences to us being worried. There are consequences to us being disturbed. And we don't want those consequences to not work for our good, for our benefit. And hopefully, all those tips will help you get out of this place and plan your way out of worry into a place where you are taking actions into necessary solutions. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I'm your girl, Nora Sakal. Please go over to our YouTube channel at Out Media and to our Facebook page, Instagram and Twitter at PMR World Today, PMR World Today. Again, go over to YouTube channel at Out Media, OWT Media. I'm your girl, Nora Sakal. Thank you so very much. God bless. I will talk to you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Remember, be productive.